Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Brother John Stewart on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministries, here to take y'all on another little walk with the word for the day. So today I'm going to share a lesson with y'all out of 2 Samuel chapter 9, verses 7 through 10. It's not a psalm, but we are going to look at David once again, get to look at another characteristic of David to show why he was a man after God's own heart. So in 2 Samuel chapter 9, verses 7 through 10, the Lord tells us this. He says, "And David said unto them, Fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father. And thou shalt eat bread at my table continually." And he bowed himself and said, "What is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am?" Then the king called to Ziba, Saul's servant, and said unto him, "I have given unto thy master's son all that pertain to Saul and to all his house. Thou therefore and thy sons and thy servants shall till the land for him, and thou shalt bring in the fruits, that thy master's son may have food to eat. But Mephibosheth, thy master's son, shall eat bread always at my table." Man, my guy David coming through for us once again. I want to start this off with one of those questions, I guess a little quiz real quick. Do you know how many laws that we have in the United States of America? If you add together all our state laws, the local laws, and the federal laws, if you add all those laws together from all those different levels, there is 18 million different laws. That is insane. 18 million, that is insane. That's a huge number. And you got to ask yourself, why do we have so many laws? God only gave us 10. Why do we have so many laws? And it's because with the degradation of our society also comes the degradation of our character. See, and a characteristic that is all but lost in our society today is integrity. See, it's very rare to be able to find a man or woman of the word these days. And this is something I know for certain. You know what I'm saying? Because I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to thousands of people over the years since I've been serving the Lord for these last 21 years. And if I had $1 for every time someone made me the promise to be a part of my ministry or come out of church or give to the ministry or something like that, and it didn't show up, I wouldn't even have to work anymore. I wouldn't even have to work. They make all these promises saying they're going to do these things and they never show up or do the things. And the reason why, because there's no more integrity. That's why there's so many laws, because we've got to a point in our society where you have to threaten people with punishment just to get them to do what they already know they should be doing. And our society is crumbling because of this lack of integrity. Now, you might think you got integrity. You might think you're a good person. You know, "Oh, man, I'm a good person. I got integrity. I'm pretty good, Brother John." What I'm going to tell you, yeah, you probably are once people are watching. See, that's not what integrity is. Integrity is not just doing good because you know people are watching. Integrity is what you do, doing good when you don't think people is watching. What do you do behind closed doors? What do you do when there's no eyes on you? What if you're in one of these little small towns like what I live in, and you're on one of these back roads, you're in a rush, and there's a stop sign right there. And you know, because you ain't seen nobody for miles, you know it ain't no cops around, you know it ain't nobody for miles. So when you put up that stop sign, do you stop like you're supposed to, or you just ride on through? 9 times out of 10, most people just gonna ride on through it because we have no integrity. Integrity is like, okay, there's a stop sign here, by the law, I'm supposed to stop. Even though there's no cops around to get me in trouble, I'm still gonna stop. That's integrity. And that's what David had. He was a man of integrity. So just in case you don't read your Bible, I'm going to fill you in on the situation. So the situation is this. So Mephibosheth is the son of Jonathan. And Jonathan is the son of Saul. And Saul, as we know, toward the end of Saul's life, was the enemy of David. Because David was supposed to be the king. Because Saul did some stuff he wasn't supposed to do. David was going to be the new king. And Saul found out about it. So he was trying to kill David the whole time. So eventually, you know, Saul died, and David was able to take over the kingdom. Now, if you know, back in olden times, when a new king came in, the first thing they did, they got rid of everything from the old king. They got rid of the whole royal family. If you was in the royal family back in the day and a new king came in, you had to skedaddle because most likely you going to be killed. You know what I'm saying? They'd go in, they kill all the royal family because they didn't want nobody to come back and challenge them for the throne, and they would take possession of all the things that the old king had. But you see, David didn't do that. David didn't do that. Not only did he not do that, he went and sought out Mephibosheth so he can exalt him. Why? Because he made a promise to Jonathan. See, Jonathan and David was best friends. Matter of fact, they were so good of friends, a lot of people try to use that in the Bible. Gay people try to use that, say, see, David was gay. David was gay because of the relationship that Jonathan and David had. David and Jonathan was not gay, but I do think it was the first recorded bromance. And I ain't gonna lie, it was, if you read the relationship they had, it was some sus stuff going on. Like I can't even lie about that. There was some sus stuff going on. But they just really had a deep love for each other. It was a really close relationship. And when Jonathan started realizing that his father was losing his mind and that the Lord was definitely going to give David the kingdom, he made a promise. He said, man, look, I know you're going to be king. I just ask that you treat my family with kindness. You know what I'm saying? And David made him a promise to do so. And that's why you see David's integrity in this situation, because the only person that knew David had made that promise was Jonathan, and Jonathan was dead. So there was nobody there to hold David accountable for that promise that he had made, but yet he kept that promise anyway because he was a man of integrity. And that's why he was a man after God's own heart. You see, that's what integrity is, because he didn't have to do that. There was nobody to hold him accountable. He did not have to keep that promise, but he was a man of his word, so he did so. And not only did he do that to Saul's sons, you got to understand something else about that situation too. Mephibosheth was crippled. He was crippled in both his feet. And if you think that mentally disabled people get treated bad now, they really got treated bad back then. I mean, it was like, it was inhumane how they treated them back then. So for a crippled dude to be invited to the table of a king, my goodness, bro, that is insane. That is insane. That's unheard of. And that's why when King David told me he's going to do it, he's like, man, how are you looking at a dead dog? He couldn't even believe how much integrity David had. That's why he said, why would he do a look on a dead dog like me? Why are you talking to me like this? Most people don't even look at me because of my situation. But David was a man of integrity. And see, that's what we as a society need to get back to. We need to get back to having integrity, because if we do, it'll take care of so many problems that we're having to deal with and have to face in our society. And it'll help us get rid of this moral rot that we're going through right now. And not only do that, integrity can save your life. If y'all remember the situation with Joseph when he got sold down to Egypt because his brother was jealous of him, he was in Potiphar's house as a slave. And you know what I'm saying, because of his integrity, Potiphar put him in charge of his whole house. And then one day, Potiphar's wife tried to get at Joseph, but because of his integrity, he wouldn't give in to her. So he took out running, she snatched his shirt, and then when her husband got home, she told her husband that he tried to rape her. So what did her husband do? Threw Joseph in jail, threw him in prison. And y'all were like, well, he still threw him in prison. You got to understand something. Joseph was a slave. And if he really thought that Joseph was tried to rape his wife, he wasn't going to throw him in no prison. He would have killed him. He would have tortured him and then killed him. But the fact that he put him in prison showed Joseph's integrity. You know what I'm saying? Showed that he believed that Joseph didn't do that. But at the same time, he couldn't really take, you know what I'm saying, with the way society was, he couldn't take the word of a slave over his wife, because that'd make him look bad. So that's why he threw him in prison. So his integrity, Joseph's integrity actually saved his life. You know, but with the way society is today, having integrity might actually put your life at risk. If you look at the story of Daniel, that's why Daniel was thrown in the lion's den, because of his integrity. The guys was hating on him because the king kept elevating him. So they was looking at him, trying to figure out, like, maybe he's doing something with his books, maybe he's doing something wrong in his work, and we can snitch on him. But when they looked, they couldn't find none. So finally, like, you know what? The only way we're going to be able to get him is through his religion. And that's what convinced the king to make that law. But his integrity ended up saving his life, because the king said, did your God protect you? He said, yes, because he found me ignorant. I said ignorant. He found me innocent. You see what I'm saying? So yes, with the way society is today, having integrity could actually put your life at risk. But even with that, I think it's still best to be a man or woman of your word, whether those around you are doing it or not. Have the character to have integrity in a world that thrives off of dishonesty. And that has been your little walk with the word for the day. I thank y'all for being here. I pray these will bless you. If they are, make sure you like, share, tag, comment, repost, and do all that good stuff to help your boy out. If you want to catch my full sermons, reach me on Facebook Live Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Then I post them on my Facebook, and I also post them on my YouTube. You want to find all my little social media outlets, just go to lostsheepministry.com, and there's a link to all of my social media outlets on that website. And of course, you're not 100% sure about your salvation, reach out to me and let me know. I'll put some time in my schedule to go over the gospel with you. I love you all, and remember, always watch your back and pray. Peace.